Good morning, children. Welcome to your social studies class. Today we are going to start with chapter 2 of history on the trails of earliest people. On the trails of earliest people means some signs of the earliest people through which we come to know about them. So, trails means some signs, some sources, some features through which we can know about earliest people, their life and their living style. And we know that earliest people were hunter-gatherers. Earliest people in the Indian subcontinent, hunter-gatherers. This is the first heading of your chapter. You can see in the picture, these are hunter-gatherers. Hunter-gatherers are the people who do not live on a fixed place, rather they keep wandering from one place to another place in search of food. The earliest human societies developed in prehistoric times around 2 million years ago. They were hunter-gatherers and they wandered from one place to another place in search of food, and the way they lived their life that time was quite different from the life that we live today. Hunter-gatherer is the term used for those people who lived by gathering food items like fruits, roots, nuts, honey, etc., which are available in the natural surroundings. Hunter-gatherers hunted wild animals also and ate their flesh. As hunter-gatherers didn't know how to produce food for themselves, so for their life they were totally dependent upon nature. And it may be fruits, roots, nuts, honey, wild animals, etc. Whatever they found in the natural surroundings, they used for their eating. Now the question comes, how do we know about these earliest people? Children, there are certain archaeological sources through which we come to know about earliest people, hunter-gatherers. These sources are these are the sources which are known which are called in the topic of your chapter as trails of the earliest people. So these trails are: number 1, it is fossils. Second is rock paintings. Then we have stone tools. So let us discuss them one by one. First, fossils. Fossils are remains or impressions of ancient plants, animals and humans which are found embedded in rocks preserved for millions of years. Embedded means जो खुदे हुए मिलते हैं. We can know as how old fossils are through carbon dating. Carbon dating is the process through which we can know about the exact age of all fossils also. So these are the impressions, these are the remaining parts of the ancient plants, animals and humans through which archaeologists estimate about the ancient plants, animals and humans. Second source we have here is rock painting. Many of the caves in which these earliest people lived have paintings on the walls. The earliest paintings on the cave walls are believed to belong to the Mesolithic period, which is between 10,000 BC and 8,000 BC. Mesolithic period is marked with transition from the older cultural traditions. This is the period where certain ecological conditions changed, where some development took place. That is Mesolithic period. Now the best examples of rock paintings are Bhimbetka rock shelters in Madhya Pradesh, rock shelters in southern Uttar Pradesh, in the regions of Gujarat, Bihar and Kerala, etc. The shades of color used in these paintings are red and white, and sometimes we can also see the use of color green and yellow also in the paintings. Next we have is stone tools. Stone tools give us an idea of the various requirements that the people needed to perform. So, earliest people, they needed some tools to do certain activities. So, for doing all those activities, for solving their purposes, they used stone and converted them into tools. The size and type of stones used help historians in knowing the life of the earliest people, in developing an idea that how earliest man used stones and what kind of tools they used for what kind of uses. A number of flake tools and hand axes have been excavated at various archaeological sites. Now flake tools means it means, children, unpolished tools. At that time tools were not polished properly, they were not in proper shape and size, they were quite rough. So those kind of tools were called flake tools. And there is one more technique through which archaeologists come to know about earliest people. This is the technique to understand the life of early man. Here what they do, they compare the modes of livelihood, technology, rituals, political institutions, and social customs of present day hunter-gatherer societies with the earliest societies of earliest human beings to understand the life of them, to understand the life of the earliest people. So this is one more technique through which we can know about earliest people. There is one more important point, children. It is habitation cum factory sites. Let us understand what is habitation cum factory sites. Early man used to choose a site for them as per availability of water, shelter, and stones to make tools. And for getting all these things, earliest people preferred to live on slope of hills where they could easily find caves to live in, and also find nearby hilly streams of water and pebbles which they can use as stones, as their tools. So this was all about habitation cum factory sites. Now let us understand finding out about fire and use of fire by the early man. Children, before knowing about how they can develop, how they can make use of, how they can use fire, earliest people had the idea of developing fire. So let us see what is this. First point is, traces of ash have been found at site of Kurnool in Andhra Pradesh. Second, earliest people discovered fire at the end of the Paleolithic age, and it was very useful for them. Paleolithic age is the old stone age. So this use of fire was very useful for them. How it was useful? As it could protect them from extremely cold winter, as well as it could protect them from wild animals, and they can use fire for roasting the meat and also making their food healthy and tastier in this way. So this was all about today's chapter. I believe this is clear to you. Thank you, children.